It's time for a change in this country, my friends, a real change.
Justin Trudeau stepped onto the political stage to thunderous cheers in 2015, bringing a message of optimism and hope. His young and energetic figure is often compared to Barack Obama of the United States. Sweet promises to bring great change in Canada made people put their full trust in this young leader. However, 8 years after he took over as Prime Minister, the hopes that were once burning are now fading. Canada, once called the land of opportunity, now faces a severe cost of living crisis, a housing crisis, and major challenges in immigration policy.
It pays less than 40 grand a year, and it's a job that requires education, and even on that job, I still can't do shit. I can't buy anything. I can't afford the rent these days.
In recent years, inflation in Canada has reached alarming levels. In 2022, the annual inflation rate reached 6.8%, the highest in 4 decades. This price hike has spread to almost all sectors of life. Transportation costs jumped by 10%, while prices of basic necessities such as meat, milk, and fruits rose by more than 8%. These increases have not only hit low-income households, but also the middle class who now have to scramble to make ends meet.
Somebody please tell me how the hell this small amount of stuff just came to $218. How?
The impact of inflation is also evident in the increasingly burdensome monthly bills. Electricity and gas costs have increased by up to 15%, leaving many families to choose between heating their homes in winter or buying food. This inflation has created a vicious cycle of poverty that is difficult to break. Many Canadians are now relying on food banks to survive. By 2023, the use of food banks increased by 35% compared to the previous year. In fact, a recent report shows that 1 in 5 Canadian households face high levels of food insecurity. Every morning in Canada, people wake up with the same anxiety. How will they make ends meet? The cost of basic necessities continues to skyrocket. In supermarkets, wheat bread, once considered a cheap food, is now a luxury item. Many Canadians share their tales of woe on TikTok, showing how they struggle to save food throughout the week.
You guys peep this. This is how I know Canada is officially going downhill. $16.97 for deodorant. Yeah, we're finished.
Inflation, which has increased rapidly in recent years, has hit all walks of life. From manual labourers to young professionals, everyone is feeling the pinch. In Toronto and Vancouver, 2 of Canada's major cities, food, transportation, and energy prices have soared so high that some people are working 2 or 3 jobs just to survive.
I have 3 jobs, and I'm still fucking struggling, and I'm just getting myself farther and farther into credit card debt because I don't have enough.
For most Canadians, owning a home is now an almost impossible dream. In most major cities, one needs to earn at least 2 to 3 times the minimum wage to get a home loan. Even those with high incomes often fail to buy a home due to skyrocketing property prices. In a recent report, the average house price in Canada reached more than 700,000 Canadian dollars. A staggering figure for a country with an average household income of around 70,000 Canadian dollars per year. For renting, the fate is not much different. A 1-bedroom apartment in major cities can cost up to 23 million rupiah per month, draining almost all of one's income.
The average rent in Canada has hit a new high, climbing past $2,100 for the first time.
This crisis is not a new phenomenon. If traced, its roots lie in Canada's immigration and housing development policies, that date back to the 1800s. At that time, Canada was an almost empty country, inhabited by only a handful of people in a very large area. To strengthen the economy, the Canadian government began to open its doors to immigrants from all over the world. Armed with slogans like "Build your nest in Western Canada," the government portrayed Canada as a land of dreams, where one could start a new life. With a well-planned strategy, Canada built its economic foundation through immigration, ensuring that every immigrant had the potential to strengthen the labour market and support the country's growth. However, amidst this success, new challenges have begun to emerge. In recent years, public opinion on immigration has shifted. By 2023, Canada will see its population increase by more than 1.2 million people, the highest number since 1957, mostly from immigration. This rapid population growth poses a major challenge to the government. With more than 1 million additional people, Canada cannot build houses fast enough to accommodate all the newcomers. As a result, housing prices are getting more expensive, while the supply of decent places to live is dwindling. Many native Canadians feel that they have to compete with immigrants for basic necessities like homes and jobs. This situation forced the government to take drastic measures to control the pressure on the housing market and prevent public discontent from worsening. Canada finally announced plans to cut immigration, a major policy change that has not happened in recent years. This move was taken by the Liberal government in an attempt to restore its popularity and retain power amid growing public discontent. From 2025 to 2027, Canada will receive a total of 1.1 million new permanent residents, which is a decrease of 21% compared to previous years. In addition, the number of temporary residents is also planned to decrease from the previous figure to around 300,000 by 2025, a reduction of 30,000 people. The government states that this plan aims to halt population growth in the short term in order to achieve well-managed and sustainable growth in the long term. Under the new plan, Canada will bring in 395,000 new permanent residents in 2025, then reduce this to 380,000 in 2026 and 365,000 in 2027, compared to the 485,000 targeted in 2024. This plan is expected to ease pressure on the housing market and give the government time to improve existing infrastructure, while maintaining economic and social stability in the country. This housing crisis is not just about shelter. It is also a potential time bomb for the Canadian economy. If the problem isn't solved soon, Canada could suffer a fate similar to Japan in the 1990s. Back then, Japan was mired in an economic crisis known as the Lost Decade, with the property market collapsing and private debt levels crippling the economy. Canada is now on the same path. The country's private debt level has reached 200% of GDP, one of the highest in the world. This situation creates immense pressure on the people who have to rely on loans to survive. Not only that, Canada also faces a huge challenge in terms of entrepreneurship. The number of entrepreneurs in the country has drastically decreased from 30% in 2000 to only 1.3 per 1,000 people today. In fact, Canada's population has grown by 12 million in the last 24 years. Instead of creating new economic opportunities, the number of entrepreneurs in Canada has shrunk by 100,000 people. This decline in entrepreneurial spirit is a major blow to Canada, which must now rely on other sectors to drive economic growth. Without innovation and new businesses, job opportunities are limited, and the pressure on the economy is growing. In the long run, this will not only affect economic stability, but also damage Canada's image as a country that offers hope and opportunity for all.